Ask questions. Why do you think that way? How did you get to think that way? It might be somebody told her that. It might be that somebody's already gotten to her. There's a lot of 8-year-olds. Stop and think about it, folks. Where do you send your child? Who is in contact with your 8-year-old? See, there are people who are what you call molesters, who say, hey, if you don't catch them early, you ain't going to get them later. So you turn them, you show them the way that you want them to go. And you infiltrate. You get into the kindergartens. That's where you go and get a good job. All right? Or it could be an associate. Sometimes little boys and little girls experiment. They're out there playing with each other, rolling in the grass, tumbling and whatnot. The old folks used to say what? The old folks used to say, you snore in a bear's face long enough, you'll learn to like it.
Whoa. Whoa.
Oh, yeah. And so when you get to be 30 years old, you don't even want people. You want some bear. That's what you want. Why? Because that's what you've been rolling around in the grass with. All right? I mean, you know, when people's minds are being formed, they can go any kind of way. Now, there are people who argue and say, no, that ain't so. Yes, it is so, but it's not absolute. There are a lot of exceptions, lots of exceptions, where people genetically are truly that way, what they call that way. Gay, homosexual, lesbian, whatnot, and they got that way. And they're not lying when they say, you know, I've tried not to be that way. But sometimes they just don't remember how it got started, too. Sometimes that's the case. And sometimes, in thousands, millions of cases, if you follow the logic, it could be in the genes. But now, in the system of white supremacy, why is this an issue with non-white people? Because the white supremacists are, just like in everything else, and this is why I have it in my book, that sex section, and I say a lot about it. Very few people mention it or speak against me for speaking against it. But I'm speaking against it not because I'm against people being so-called gay or homosexual or whatever you want to call it, or bi, whatever that means. I'm saying the white supremacists, just like in everything else, are manipulating the non-white people all over this planet and channeling all of that so-called gay movement, so that they have something that's assigned to white people, and in the long run, it's not showing on the surface right now, and I want to make this clear right now. Oh yeah, they're making it look like it's all together. No, it isn't. They got a plan for white people who are gay, and they got a plan for non-white people who are gay and lesbian and bi and transgender and queer and on 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 into all varieties of sexual infinity. Sex is a very powerful force, and the white supremacists know that you got to have a plan for it if you're going to dominate people forever. And so they have looked at non-white people and they say, oh, I have to steer them in the way that I want them to go. But I have to do it in such a way, like I do everything, through deception, to make it think like it's their plan, when I will be pulling the strings, and every every move that they make, every person of color, I will determine what their sexuality is. That's my ultimate goal. And how that sexuality will be distributed and how it will be used to do what? To do like everything that I command. Serve me as a white supremacist. And so I will get my hold on the black intellectuals first and get them to follow my lead. And they will lead the rest of the herd. That's what they're doing, folks.